Okay, today, guys, we're going to be talking about a Chevy Cruz and how to change oil on a 2012 or later Chevy Cruz. I've got the car jacked up right now, just slightly, just so I can reach it. It's kind of tough to get underneath there, but I've got that car jacked up and I've got it supported. Always try to support it so in case it falls on you. First thing you're going to need to change the oil here. If you guys have the same one I do, the plug, or excuse me, the socket is the number 16. You're going to need a number 16 socket, right? That's what size mine is. Some may have a little bit different, but I've got a 16 socket. There's the oil plug, oil drain plug right there. Also, when you jack it up, it will help to push that oil back towards the back into the pan, further or closer to the drain plug. Now that said, be careful about this. Again, remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. You don't want to strip this bolt out by any means. I'll get a little bit tighter and show you guys what I'm talking about. We'll take that bolt loose and get everything ready. Okay, if you're looking straight underneath it, right there's the bolt. Right here is your drain pan bolt. We're going to loosen it. You don't want to take it too loose. We're just going to loosen it here. Just a little bit. There we go. You don't want oil coming out of it, but there we go. Okay. This is the tricky part because sometimes if you don't get it jacked up high enough, you can actually not be able to get your oil drain pan, if you will, or what you call it, underneath that plug. Exactly underneath that plug. Pretty much got the oil plug loose all the way by finger. And we're going to pull it out here in a minute. You're going to get oil on your fingers, but that's okay. Not a lot. There, it's draining. All right. I'm going to pull it over. There we go. I'll show you guys what I mean. It's draining right out of the drain pan. All right. There's our bolt. We'll wipe that bolt off, wash our hands off, wipe our hands off. Make sure we don't have any grime or grit on the threads. And we'll let this dry. Now do this when the engine is cool, not when it's hot. That's for sure. After you've been running it, you will burn yourself bad. Okay, to kind of speed this up, as I said, some things that you can do is actually take the oil cap, the oil filter cap, which is right here. It's kind of hard to see, guys. I will show you as best I can. Right there. It is right here. This is the oil cap, right? We'll go through the tools you need here in just a moment, but that's the oil cap. And you can loosen that just a little bit to create that suction to get that to drain a little bit quicker. I'm not going to do that right now, but you can do that. I'm going to get my tools prepped because it does take a special tool, if you will, or a socket, rather, to get that oil filter cap off. This oil filter fits down inside. As you can tell, it's going to fit down inside of this actual plastic GM cover. Again, this is not hard. People make this harder than what it needs to be. It's not that hard. I'll show you guys. We're just going to let the oil drain a little bit because that filter will hold about, half a quart roughly of oil, give or take. So again, you don't want to pull that cap of the oil filter all the way off, otherwise it'll leak. So we're just going to let it drain. But you can loosen it to help kind of create that suction, as I said. Okay, guys, I was also going to tell you another way that you can increase that oil flow, if you will, when you're draining. It's just to pop take the dipstick. You don't have to take it all the way out, but pull it out, leave it up. You can also take off your oil cap, let it set right there, just like that. If you're not comfortable taking off the oil filter cap, there is that cap, like I said. That'll help just create the airflow to drain out oil. Now, we've got our tools here to pull off the oil filter cap. You're going to need a 24 millimeter half-inch with an extension and a 24 millimeter ratchet, or a half-inch ratchet. I don't have a short extension. I got a long extension, but we're going to make this work. All right, guys, we've got our ratchet socket on the oil cap filter. Right here, you can see it. There's a good close-up view of it. There's the oil cap filter. Now you want to be real careful about this because that oil cap filter, unfortunately, in GM's infinite wisdom, is plastic. Now the seating for the filter is not plastic, it's metal, but that cap is plastic. So while I've seen some folks actually use pliers and all kinds of crap to get that loose, it is not recommended, and you do not want to torque that too much because it will bust. It busts and you're in a lot of trouble, so be careful with that. Again, that's the location. I know the sun's on it, but there you go. There's the oil cap filter. There's the oil filter. It sits down inside of there. I'll show you that here in a minute, but let's get this thing loose here. All right. There we go. So we're slowly turning it. There we go. See it coming loose. All right. Let me just take that. All I'm doing now is taking the extension off, and then I'll take my socket off of there so I can do it with my fingers the rest of the way. All right. And it's gonna sometimes come out with the entire filter in it. There's the filter. Get it out as quick as you can so you don't leak oil everywhere. There's that filter and the oil cap right there. So you get your oil cap with the filter inside of it. Now we'll show you guys how to change that out. These little plastic clips hold it into the filter cap itself. So sometimes it's tough. So you take those caps and let's drain this oil here real quick. I'm gonna drain the oil that's in here out into my pan real quick. All right, guys, we've got that oil cap pretty much drained. You don't want to drain it all the way. Also, there is right here, there's a rubber grommet, if you will. That's a seal all the way around the base of that. I always kind of clean my threads a little bit, but I do not take all the oil out, and I do not wipe that seal all the way down. It's lubrication for the seal, right? It helps to seal it. So just be cautious of that. Like I said, I do clean my threads, but I don't, for those that actually change their own oil and do their own stuff like this, be careful of that. So now what I do is I take the new filter, and you'll kind of do it. You'll stick it in there, and you can feel it pop into place, just like that. There's the new filter, right? And that's what it is right there. So now that we've got this in here, you can kind of see real quick, right down there, there's the oil filter. Right here is the pan for it, if you want to call it a pan, right? And we're going to slide this. This little hole has got to go right over that. So it's kind of hard because you don't have a lot of room. Do not force it. You can get it in just by your hand. Turn the camera. You can kind of see the filter there. And then you just kind of work it in there. And it will seat on its own. There it goes. There it is. And you can tighten it up. And we're almost down to the seal. You can tighten that up by hand. I'm going to back it out just in case. I just didn't feel comfortable with that. There we go. All right, now the next step, take your socket and your drive, and then we're actually going to tighten this thing back up. But there's a key to this. Do not over tighten that. Doesn't need to be. You'll break it. Okay, I just put my socket and ratchet back on, and we're going to start tightening this now. Again, the key is not to over tighten it. You want it snug, but not over tight, because again, very easy to crack, very easy to break. That's it, that's tight right there. So we're just gonna go a little bit more. There we go. Now, I encourage you guys, I don't know if you can see this blue dot right here. I've taken that little blue dot. What I've done is I've taken just some, that's just a marker for me. I took some basic, kind of like thread type stuff, little goop and stuck it there and let it dry. And I know that that is just to the left of my GM marker. When I get there, I know that it's tight. And so that's how you know the filter's tight. So now we got a new filter in it. We'll put the drain plug back in just as you did before, right? And then we'll start putting oil in it. Guys, we're back underneath the car. We're gonna put our drain plug back in. Kind of move here a little bit. Pretty easy. And you're just gonna put it in exactly the way that we took it out. And then we'll end up tightening it up. All right, guys, you can see the drain plug right here and the bolt here. We're gonna just put it in there, tighten it by hand as far as we can get it. And then we're basically going to use our ratchet and tighten it up here. Again, some people have different sizes on this. Mine just so happens to be a 16 mil. Yeah, sometimes you'll slip if you don't have a deep well, but there you go. And then I'll take this to the car wash and wash underneath the side just to get the oil off of the pan and clean it up. Things like that. You don't have to have this too tight, but you don't want it too loose. It does have a seal on it as well. So you just, that's tight enough right there. There we go. My funnel, and I slowly start adding the oil in. And you can't do too much because obviously it'll come, there's no room between the valve cover gasket. I mean, very little room between the valve cover gasket at all. And the top of the motor, if you will. I don't want to get too technical. So it's hard to pour a lot of oil in at once. You just got to take your time. Again, just take your time. Now, we're going to take our oil cap and put it back on, just like this. There you go. You can put it in just like that, or if it's tight due to this cover, it shouldn't be, but if it is tight due to the cover, you can pop that cover back off just like we did earlier. But the cap, there you go, right there. We can put it in just like that. And again, you can see SAE 5W30. Whatever yours says on the cap, that's what I'd go back with. Obviously, we're going to check our oil after it drains down here in a little bit. You'll be able to just pull out your dipstick and check your oil at that point. Now, I'm not going to shoot that because, again, this video is just how to change it. That's how you would check it. And there's markings on there to see how low or how full you are. I know that we're pretty good, but that's how you change oil and oil filter on a Chevy Cruz 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. They're all pretty much the same. So are those Sonics and whatnot. And if there's a little bit of a change, you guys can kind of figure it out and work it out as far as where's what and whatnot. This is just kind of a basic overview. All right, guys, that'll do it for this video. That's how to change the oil in a 2012 Chevy Cruz. Hope you guys enjoyed this how-to video. Definitely like it and give it a thumbs up if you would.